So thank you very much for coming to this workshop today. And this workshop has two parts. So in the first part of this workshop, we are going to briefly talk about the importance and nature of academic vocabulary in academic writing across disciplines. Okay, and in the second part of this workshop, I'm going to show you how to use some of the functions of the corpus to AntConc here. So what is academic vocabulary? So many researchers have defined vocabulary differently. So in a broader sense here, if you look at this screen here, in a broader sense, vocabulary means words used in academic context, both academic written or spoken context. But one problem with this definition is that we also include general words that you used, or words that used, or general words that you use in daily life. We also see general daily life words as academic vocabulary. But if we mix academic vocabulary and general vocabulary together, we will find it very difficult to understand the nature of academic vocabulary. And also we will also find it quite difficult to understand what academic vocabulary should we focus on in terms of learning. So because of the broad definition of academic vocabulary, some researchers narrow this broad definition by suggesting that there are two definitions of academic vocabulary. So one is general academic vocabulary. So by general academic vocabulary, we mean lexical word items that occur frequently, uniformly across a wide range of academic material, such as research articles, conference proposals, conference presentations, doctoral thesis, or academic texts like this. So you can see some examples here: research, analyzed, fetches, data, and definitions. So this is the first type of academic vocabulary. And the second type of academic vocabulary is what we call domain-specific academic vocabulary. So by this term, we mean lexical items that are specific to a subject domain or a particular discipline. So if we look at the examples here, median, mode, standard deviation, and central tendency. So these are specific vocabulary in the discipline of mathematics or statistics. Okay, so you can see there are two types of academic vocabulary here: general academic vocabulary and domain-specific or discipline-specific academic vocabulary. So why is learning academic vocabulary important for university students? So of course, we know that learning academic vocabulary is important because it can help you as students to understand here, the first bullet point here, classroom instruction. At least you can understand what the teacher is talking about in the lecture. And the second purpose here is or the second reason here is to help you understand. By learning academic vocabulary, you can also understand task requirements. Okay, at least you know how to finish task in class activities given by your teachers. And also by understanding academic vocabulary, you can understand texts from different subject areas.
可能会有点艰难。香港的计程车是你上车，你就要跟他讲说你要去哪里，然后它是有分地区性的，比方说香港就香港，然后市区就市区这样子。所以我不确定这个任务会不会拍得成，完全没有。
So why is academic vocabulary difficult to learn? You can look at this table here. So one thing that you have to understand that academic vocabulary is one core part of academic language. And academic language is totally different from the language that you use in general in high schools or from the language that you use in daily life. So academic vocabulary is often used here within a discipline-specific rather than a daily life context. Okay, so what I mean is that academic words from across disciplines usually have different meanings from words that we use in daily life. So you can look at the two examples here. So in daily life, when we talk about force here, we usually refer to a violent physical act to get what you want. You can look at this example here. Teachers are not allowed to use force in the classroom. But in the discipline of physics, okay, you can see a totally different meaning. So in physics, by force, we mean an influence that can cause an object to change its speed. Okay, you can look at the example here. Okay, this paper focuses on force of gravity. And you can also see another example of function here. Again, in daily life, when we talk about function, we usually refer to a purpose that someone or something has. Okay, like this example here, he performs some key functions in his company. And again, in mathematics, we can also see a very different meaning. Okay, in the discipline of mathematics, by function, we mean an expression or rule or law that defines a relationship between two vectors. And also academic words are more often and precise in meaning. So you can look at this table here. So in everyday life, we usually use less complex vocabulary or more formal vocabulary, like examples 1A or example 2A here. Viruses are passed from one person to another. Or example 2A here, scientists try to find the root cause of the pandemic. But when we talk about academic language, we can't use too many informal vocabulary. So we have to, if you look at example 1B here, so you have to replace past with transmitted. Okay, viruses are transmitted. And also if you look at example 2B, okay, so you have to use attempt instead of try. So of course, I'm not saying that you should not use informal or vocabulary in your academic writing, but you can't use too many of them because you have to make your writing sound academic. So try to not use too many informal vocabulary in your writing. Okay, let's do one activity here. So could you please read these 4 sentences? And what I want you to do is to replace the underlined words with suitable academic words. Okay, so for number 1, you have to replace get with another academic word or formal words. Okay, number 2, help. Number 3, give. Number 4, heads. Okay, so I give you around 3 minutes for this. You could type your answer. So you could type your answers on the chat box, or you could open your mic, okay? Use your mic to tell me the answers. Okay, 3 minutes for this. Think about it. Okay, for number 1, so there are several possible answers, like access, collect, gather, obtain, or even gain. Okay, gain is also all right. Okay, access information, collect information, gather, and obtain information. Okay, so these words are more formal than the word get. And for number 2, you have to replace help with facilitate. And for number 3, so you could use allocate here, allocate to, or you could use provide, but you have to replace to with for, provide something for something. Okay, and for number 4, so again, you could use includes, consists of, contains, and comprises. Okay, let's do one more exercise here. So you can see some more examples here. So could you now replace the general words here with academic words? So from the table, you can see quite a lot of facial verbs like used to, leave out, ask for, set up, think about, Some facial verbs like this are not very common in academic writing, and you have to replace those words with more formal words. So for example, you have to replace leave out with omit, think about, replace think about with consider, replace tell with inform, and replace name here with label or term. So from the two exercises that I asked you to do, so one thing that I want you to understand is that academic vocabulary tends to be more formal and complex. But remember, I'm not saying that you should avoid using informal words in academic writing, but you should try not to use too many of them. So do academic vocabulary, so that's another question that I want you to think about. Do academic vocabulary vary across disciplines? Well, of course, academic vocabulary differs across disciplines. So in one influential study from conducted by Professor Ken Harlan and his colleague, okay, Polly here. So they observed that different disciplines show clear preferences for particular word forms and meanings. So you can see one example here. So for example, the word process tends to be used as a noun more often by natural sciences than by social sciences. Okay, you can see one example here. The graphical process configuration editor. Okay. So this tendency is the result of the well-known practice of what we call nominalization. And by nominalization, we mean we change verbs or adjectives into nouns. And this linguistic phenomenon is very common in academic writing. And this practice, academic linguistic practice, is particularly common in the natural sciences disciplines like biology or chemistry or medicine, because natural scientists regularly need to transform experiences into abstractions to create new things to be discussed or analyzed in their writing. Okay. And this is also one linguistic feature that you have to pay attention to when you write your academic texts. So you have to use more noun phrases in your writing. And you can also see another example here, analysis. So in the social sciences, the word analysis here is often used as a noun. The word analyze here is often used as a noun, analysis. Whereas in engineering, it tends to occur as an adjective, analytical. Okay. And you can see here, two different word forms are used as a noun, as an adjective in two different disciplines. And in terms of meaning, you can also see there are some differences. So for example, in the natural sciences, the word here tends to refer to methods of determining the composition of a biological substance. You can look at test 1 here. We use a variety of methods. Okay, can you see the screen, everybody? Can you see the screen? Okay, let's carry on. So I'm talking about another example here, analyze. Okay. As I mentioned, so in the social sciences, so the word analyze is often used as a noun, analysis, whereas in engineering, it tends to occur as an adjective, analytical. So we can see two different word forms here. And in terms of meanings, and there are also differences. So for example, in the natural sciences, the word tends to refer to methods of determining the composition of a substance. So we can look at test 1 here. So we use a variety of methods to analyze fungal spore load, toxins, volatiles. Okay, so you can see different compositions of a biological substance. And if you look at test 2, whereas the word analyzed tends to mean something as simply considering or examining something, such as a trend or social phenomenon carefully in the social science disciplines. So you can look at test 2 here. The majority of the major objective of this report is to analyze developments in political sociology over the last half century. So you can see two different meanings are expressed using the word analyzed. Okay. So now how does academic vocabulary vary across two other disciplines, the disciplines of medicine and chemistry? So let's look at the top 10 frequently occurring words in this table here. Okay, so in this table you can see two frequency word lists from two different disciplines, the discipline of medicine and the discipline of chemistry. And from this, from this two lists, you can also see three different parts of speech are used: noun, verb, and adjective. So now what I want you to do is to categorize the words to the three parts of speech: noun, verb, and adjective. Okay, good try. Okay, let's check the answers together. Well, as I said, there are three parts of speech: noun, verbs, and adjectives. So for nouns, I highlighted them in red, and for verbs, I highlighted them in green, the green words, and for adjectives, blue. Well, at least you can see that from the list, from the frequency word list, from the disciplines of medicine here. So you can see more nouns are used, and from the list from the discipline of chemistry, you can see more verbs are used, right? And it's also interesting to see the modal verb can here is used. It's very common in chemistry. But from this exercise, what I want you to understand is that people from different disciplines used academic vocabulary in a very different way, as you can see in this table. Okay, as I said, in writers, for example, writers in medicine, they tend to use more noun phrases or nouns of noun phrases in their writing. Whereas writers in chemistry, they tend to use more verbs. Here, the why. Why is that? So this is something that you need to think about. So how can you learn academic vocabulary, particularly words in relation to your discipline? Well, of course, there are many different ways to learn academic vocabulary. If you look at the first bullet point here, one of the ways is you have to read widely, to expose yourself to different types of academic vocabulary across academic genres in relation to your discipline. So you have to read different research articles, you have to read different academic textbooks or research proposals, different academic genres like this. Or you could use available or existing vocabulary apps or online resources. And I have found two apps particularly useful. So if you click on the link here, Noji. So Noji is a very useful app. And this app was developed based on one well-known academic vocabulary list developed by Professor Ariel Cosset. Okay, so you could download this app and learn the vocabulary, academic vocabulary from this app. Or you could also use a dictionary app here. And I found this app particularly useful. You could also download it. Okay. And one more effective way here that I'm going to show you is to build an academic vocabulary list for your own discipline. Okay, so in this workshop, so I'm going to show you some of the basic functions that you can use on a free software called AntConc. So how can you build an academic vocabulary list for your discipline? So you have to use this free learning tool, AntConc here. So what is AntConc? So AntConc was developed by Dr. Lawrence Anthony, who is a professor of English in a Japanese university. And this software is freeware corpus analysis tool. So this tool is free of charge. You don't need to pay. And this tool is common among linguists and also researchers to analyze large amounts of text data. And in this workshop, I'm going to show you how to use three major functions here: word frequency, cons, collocation analysis, and concordance analysis. Okay, so there are many different functions that you can use on AntConc, but because of time constraints, I will not be able to show you everything. So I will just focus on these three. Okay. So before we start, you need to, because all of you are not here in this computer room, so you have to download this software on your own computer. So could you please go to this website, okay, and download the most updated version, the latest version of AntConc, version 4.24. Okay. So click on this link and download here. Download the software, Windows Portable 4.24. You can also save this too, okay, on your USB and use it on your school computer and install AntConc on your computer. So I'll give you around a few minutes to install AntConc on your computer. If you have any difficulties, please let me know. And you also need a file, okay, to help you use the functions of AntConc. So could you please go to the chat box? You can see a link. So click on the link and download a file. And the file name is called Guidelines for using the AntConc tool. So two things I want you to do. One is to install AntConc on your laptop, and then go to Zoom chat box and download the guidelines, the file named Guidelines for using the AntConc tool. So did you all download, install AntConc on your computer? And please let me know if you are ready. Could you please type in ready? So two things that I want you to do: download, install AntConc on your computer, and also go to the chat box. Okay, download the file called the Guidelines for using the AntConc tool. So after you have open AntConc, you will see an interface like this. So on the top left interface here, you will see 4 items here: File, Edit, Settings, and Help. Okay, so this is the navigation menu here. Okay, and below the navigation menu, you will see here a data file window. And next to the data file window, you will see the results window here. This one is the results window. And below the results window, you can see control panel here. So you can do different things on the control panel. And above the results window, you can see the tool tab. Okay. So you can see different functions that you can perform on AntConc. And if you look at the guidelines here, so in this workshop, I'm going to show you only some of the functions here. One is the keyword in context function, quick function. This one. And also the file view function. And also collocate function and the word function. So for the first function here, the quick function, it is used to show research results in a concordance, okay? Allowing you to see how words or phrases are commonly used in the surrounding context in the target text. So this function is very important because you can see how your search words are used. Okay, you need to understand how words are used in context. And also the file function here is used to show the text of an individual file, allowing you to investigate in more detail the results you have generated. Okay, I will tell you what to do very soon. And also the next function that we're going to use is, as I mentioned, collocate function. So this function is used to show words that appear frequently within a certain distance of the search item, allowing you to find which words co-occur with other words in the target text. Okay, so this is what we call collocations. And also the last function here is the word function. So the word function is used to count words in the target text and present them in an order list. And this is also what we call a frequency word list. Okay, allowing you to find which words are the most frequently in the target text. Okay, so we will use these four functions. So now let's load the files on AntConc. So could you please go to AntConc here? Okay, click on File. And then you click on Open Corpus Manager. I will do it very, very slowly. So you will see two existing corpora here, AME American number 6 list and British English number 6 list. So these two corpora, existing corpora here. Okay, and you can also see some color dot here, color dot. So in orange, you can see an orange dot here, right? So this orange dot means the list here, the two lists has some marked or unmarked list. Okay. And a green dot here means the corpora are installed and ready to use. Okay. So now double click the green dot here. And you can see the green dot change, okay, into a red dot like this. And then you can also see a message. The corpus is marked for delete. Okay, so this means that the corpus can be deleted. And if you want to delete the corpus here, demo bd, okay, you need to click on update next to connect online here. Okay, click on update. And you will see another message here. You are about to delete a corpus. Do you want to continue? And then click on yes. And you can see the corpus is removed. Demo BD is removed. Okay. So now we are just using one of the existing corpora here, American number 6 list here, to demonstrate the functions of AntConc. So now first click on this symbol next to American E number 6. And then you can see a very long list of subcorpora here. Okay, so we will just use one of the corpora here. So click on American number 6J learned here. Okay, so click on American number 6J learned DB. Okay, and then you can see our green dots. Okay, so now click on Connect Online. Click on Connect Online and click Update. So we need to download this corpus. And then you can see a message. The new corpus will be downloaded from the internet. Are you sure? Yes. Click on yes. So it takes some time for AntConc to download the corpus. Okay, so now you can see another message here. The corpus library has been updated. Click on OK. And then you can see the status here from available to ready. Status has been changed from available to ready. So that means you can use this corpus. So now double click the name of the corpus, double click the name of the corpus, and then you can see a blue dot. Okay, and you can also see a table here. So a blue dot means the corpus has been chosen as your target corpus, the corpus that you're going to use. And the table here shows the background information about the corpus. And this corpus that we are going to use is a corpus of academic essays written by students from different disciplines. Okay, so now click on the button here, return to main window. Okay. And then you can, and if you look at the data file window, you can see a long list of files are added to AntConc. And you can also see some basic information about the corpus that you have just loaded, including the name here, the corpus name that you have just loaded, and also the total number of files. So there are 80 files here. And also tokens, the number of words in the corpus. And on the bottom left here of the data file window, you can see progress and 0%, right? So these two items are used to show the progress of your search task. So progress 0 here means no search task is conducted because you didn't start using the functions. Okay. Okay, now let's identify frequently occurring words here on AntConc. So could you please now first click on word here, words on the tool tab. Click on here. Click on word on the tool tab. And second here, click on start on the control panel. And you will see a long list of words ordered by rank, frequency, and range on this results window. So by rank, we mean the position of the word type, here. Okay, so the higher the frequency count of the word type is, the higher the ranking will be. Okay, and by frequency here, we mean the number of times that the word type appears in all the texts. And by range here, we mean the number of files with the word type. So now under the tool tab, you will also see entrance, total frequent, and page size. And by entrance here, we mean the word type that we have identified. Okay, and by total frequency, we mean the total frequency count of the word type, which is the same number of the tokens in the corpus here. You can see the numbers are the same. And by page size here, we mean the number of entries shown on the results window. Okay, so on this results window, you can only see the first 100 hits. So if you want to see the first 500 hits, click on 500 hits, and then you can see all the results from number 1 to 500. Okay. So now let us focus on the first top 100 frequency occurring words here on this results window. So from this top 100 frequency occurring words, you can see two types of words are used: function words and content words. So by function words, we mean words used to show the grammatical relationships between other words in a sentence, like prepositions, articles, connectives, words like this. Okay. And you can also see content words. So by content words, we mean words used to have semantic meaning. And these content words can be used to contribute to the meaning of sentences. Okay. And to learn academic vocabulary, we need to focus on the content words. So because they have specific semantic meaning. Okay. So now let's look at some of the content words here. Okay. So if you look at the guidelines, the guidelines files, could you please go to page 4? So I want you to answer one question. So based on the top 100 frequently occurring words that you have just identified on AntConc. So answer this question: how many content words are there? So list them all together with their ranks below on the lines. So go back to the word frequency list. Just focus on the first 100 words. So can you identify the content words? As I mentioned, content words have specific meanings. And if you look at my window here, my results window here, from number 1 to 17 here, can you see any content words? What do you think? So from number 1 to 17, there's no content words. From 18 to 32, what do you think? Can you see any content words? You can see one here, have, right? So can you look at the rest of the words here? So from the top 100 frequently occurring words here, you can see different types of content words here. So have, has, had, time, new, to, used, different, words like this. Okay. And you can also see their ranks in brackets. So this function is very useful because you can identify the most frequency words list, or the most frequency words used in your in a corpus. So when you create your own corpus, you need to you also need to create your own frequency words list. And based on this frequency words list, you can just learn the words that are most frequently occur in the text. So in the above step, so we have just identified a set of content words like those highlighted in yellow here. Okay, so since these words have rather high frequency counts, they can be seen as important academic vocabulary that we should master. However, learning them without understanding how the words are used with other words is not helpful. So one effective approach to learn academic vocabulary is to identify how the words are used with other words. Okay, that is collocations. So because appropriate use of collocations can facilitate understanding. So now let's go back to AntConc. So we're using another function here. I have just shown you the function of the word function here to create your frequency word list. So now I'm going to show you another function, collocates. Yeah. So click on collocates. Okay, click on collocate, and on the tool tab here, so you will see different terms here. Collocate types, so which means the total number of collocates that you have identified. And collocate tokens means the total number of collocates that you have found. Okay, and page size here which means the number of collocates types show on this window. Okay. And you can also see different terms under the tool tab here. Rank, okay, which means the position of collocate of the words. Okay, and frequency L, R, and frequency L. Okay, by frequency L, we mean the frequency of the collocate of the word on the left side. Okay, so how frequent the collocate of the word is on the left. And also frequency R, okay, the opposite. Okay, the frequency count of the collocate on the left side. And frequency LR means the total frequency counts of the collocate on both sides. Okay. So now, could you please on the control panel here, could you please type in used? So we use the word used in the past tense forms as an example. Okay. So for search query here, choose words. For Windows band, choose from 2L to 2R. Okay. And for minimum requirement, okay, just choose one. And for minimum range, again, choose one. And sort by here, we choose frequency LR. And you can see the results here. Okay, so we just if you go back to the guidelines. So I want you to answer this question. So which words often co-occur with the word used? Okay, just list the top 5 most frequency words, collocates. And from the results, you can see that to the preposition to is, was, were, and as. Okay, so these 5 words often co-occur with the word used. Okay. So now after we have identified the collocations of the word used, we need to analyze them in the surrounding context of the text. And this is important in helping us to understand how the words are used in the text and what purposes that they can serve in the text. Okay. So again, let's go back to AntConc. So, and we use the collocate used to, for example, as an example. Okay. Collocate used to. Go back to AntConc. Okay, as I said, we used the collocate used to, okay, as an example. So click on to here. So click on to, and then you will go to another function here, the quick function, keyword in context function. So again, under the tool tab here, you can see 2 terms, total hits and page size. So by total hits, we mean the total frequency counts of the collocates, 56 here. Okay, again, page size, we mean the number of collocates that you want to see on this window, on this results window. And you can also see different terms on the key on the quick on the results window here. File name, the hit, that is the word. That is the target word that we are looking at. And left context here. So we mean the sentence patterns that occur before the collocate used to. And left context, okay, we mean the sentence patterns occurring after the collocate used to. So on this window, you can see some patterns highlighted in different colors on the left side, on the right side of the collocate used to, right? And these patterns are sorted by frequency to tell you which patterns are often used with the collocate used to. Okay, and you can also see that the right side of the collocate used to is often used with such verbs as categorized, treat, determined, identify, indicate. Okay, words like this. So now, what about the patterns on the left side of the collocate used to? Okay. So on the control panel, so you can see sort options, right? So click on sort options. Click sort to the left. And click start. Okay, so you can see the patterns, the sentence patterns on the left. So now go back to the guidelines file. So could you answer number 1 and number 2, question number 1 and number 2 on page 7? Which words are often used on the left side of the collocate used to? Focus on the words in red. And also question 2, are there any modal verbs in the patterns on the left side of the collocate? If yes, what are they? Okay, focus on the words in green and purple, okay? There's a typo here, not plural, purple, okay? So for question 1, from the left side of the colloquial used to, you can see words like was, is, were, been, are, and we, right? They are all highlighted in red on the results window. And you can also see some modal verbs like can be, might be, could be, will be, or would not be. Okay. So now we can see that modal verbs occur with the colloquial used to in the text. So we need to understand the purposes that these modal verbs serve in the text. So let's take the word used in the 65th position on the quick window. So could you please go to AntConc, look at the word in the 65th position. This one, how cloning might be used. So click on the word, and then you will go to the file view function. So now you can read how the colloquial might be used to. This phrase is used in the surrounding context. So could you please read the few slides before the colloquial and also the few slides after the colloquial. And based on what you have read, answer the last question on page 7 in the guidelines. What purpose does the phrase or the colloquial might be used served in the question? So my here is a modal verb, and when we use modal verb, we can hedge the tone of the question. So this may be one possible reason why the writer of the text wants used the modal verb might here. Okay, or to avoid criticism from readers. And by using modal verbs, we can avoid criticisms from readers, because when you use modal verbs, we could lower the certainty of our claims. Okay, so far we have tried different functions of AntConc here: the word function, colloquial, the quick function, and the file view function. So now how can you keep a record of what you have found? So you need to build a vocabulary portfolio. Okay, so to do this requires you to think of an effective way to organize the academic words that you have found on AntConc. And here is one suggested template that you could use here. Okay, so you could draw a table like this with different columns: parlor speech, the target word, parlor speech, and then you can have English meanings or Chinese meanings if necessary. And then you have one column for colloquials. Okay, and then you use examples from the text. Don't use examples from dictionary. You have to use examples from your own text. Okay, so you can see one example here. So remember, you need to build your own vocabulary portfolio or vocabulary list like this, based on what you have found on AntConc. So based on the word frequency list, based on collocation analysis or concordance analysis. Well, in this workshop, I've just shown you some basic functions of AntConc. So in the next workshop, I'm going to show you how to create your academic vocabulary list using your own text. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you will be interested in my next workshop. So if you are interested, you could register. Okay, you can see the date here, the date. But before you come to the second workshop, there are several things that I want you to prepare. Okay, so you have to bring all the materials of the courses that you have taken, like your course outlines, lecture handouts, PPT slides, or any reading materials given by your teachers. Okay, and in the next workshop, I'm going to tell you, as I said, tell you how to create your own corpus using your own text for the development of your academic vocabulary list. And I will also discuss ways to learn academic vocabulary using your own corpora. For example, how can you identify reporting verbs in your corpus, and also normalizations, and also other academic formulaic expressions. So these three linguistic items are very common in academic writing. Well, I think I will stop here. So if you have any questions, please let me know.